right, welcome to the second episode of the Sort of Stupid Sports Podcast. Got a couple great men in here in the room with me. To my left, I have Matthew Shiflett, Noah McCune. I said that wrong.
No, that's right.
All right, yeah, we're good. All right, Blaine Smith, Darren Will, and myself, Troy Gant. We're here to talk about some sports. You know, we have no credentials. That's why we're sort of stupid. But hopefully you guys care what we have to say. So we're going to kick it off to begin with just recapping some of the games of Week 16. And I'm going to kick it over to Matt to begin with this.
All right. So this week I started off with, I'll just get this out of the way right now. The Saints 31, Steelers 28. It hurt. This really hurt our playoff chances. So now the Steelers need to win against the Bengals, and they need the Browns to beat the Ravens in order to move on and win the division. But talk about the game. So both teams played a really close game. It was a really good game. They kept scoring back and forth, constantly. Until the last few minutes, we were plagued by a Stephen Ridley fumble and then a Juju Smith-Schuster fumble. Both of these were, kind of rough. Anyway, notable stat. Antonio Brown had a day, 185 yards, 2 touchdowns on 14 receptions. It just wasn't enough to carry the Steelers to a win. So, unfortunate, but Next up, we've got the Rams, 31, Cardinals, 9. This one was a little bit more expected. The Rams offense gained 461 yards to the Cardinals, 263. So it was a 200-yard difference. That was kind of that's what did it for them. Time of possession, the Rams won at 37 to 22 minutes. So, if you don't have the ball, you can't score. So, yeah, fun stats. There were a couple of really fun kind of tidbits here. Aaron Donald broke the record for single-season sacks as a defensive tackle. Now he's got 19.5. He's only, 3 away from Michael Strahan's record?
22.5.
So, yeah, it could happen.
Hopefully he doesn't get there.
I'll say that. Michael Strahan, he's a guy. I like Michael Strahan. Larry Fitzgerald threw his first touchdown pass in the NFL after his 15 years in it. It was a 32-yarder, so he went 1 for 1 on the day. Nice little stat there. And then finally, I've got the Packers at 44, Jets at 38. I did not see this one coming. I didn't expect this to be just a full-blown shootout. Jets were up 21-7 with 5 minutes left in the half, but then the Packers managed to bring it, 2 more scores. They went into halftime 21-20. The Jets, third quarter, 2 more unanswered touchdowns to go up 35-20, but their lack of a running game ended up doing them in. They ended up finishing the game with only 47 rushing yards. They just could not, run the clock out. They could not. They just could not keep it together on the ground. Packers ended up coming back, outscoring the Jets 18-3 in the fourth quarter. Took it to overtime. Rodgers to Adams and OT to win the game. So that was the end of that one. That was kind of a lot more exciting than I expected. But those were my games, so we'll pass it over to Noah.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and start with the Tennessee Titans and the Redskins at Tennessee. It was a win for the Titans, 25-16, which means their playoff hopes are still alive. They did, however, lose Marcus Mariota, which he has had some bad luck in Week 16 as of right now. I think he's been hurt twice during Week 16, and one year he was hurt in Week 15. So just not a really good time for Mariota. He ended up with 10-13 for only 110 yards. And then Blaine Gabbert came in and had 101 yards and a touchdown. Derrick Henry looked human this week. 21 carries for 84 yards and 1 touchdown.
Still pretty good.
Yeah, no, it was still a good game. Still a good game. But someone else on the other side of the ball turned back the clock. Adrian Peterson, 26 carries and 119 yards, but no touchdown.
Okay.
Love seeing it.
Other than that, really not much else going on with this game. Titans keep their chances alive, and they play the Colts this week to make it to the playoffs. So next up, we've got the Texans at Philadelphia. This was a close win for the Eagles, 32-30. Saint Nick Foles,
bringing the Christmas spirit.
Jolly old Saint Nick went off, 35 of 49. 471 yards and 4 touchdowns to only 1 interception. Which, if you're throwing the ball 50 times and you only throw 1 pick,
pretty good day.
That's a pretty good day for you.
Good defense too.
Oh, yeah, against the Texans, their secondary is a little iffy, but other than that...
Wentz would have threw at least 2.
All I gotta say, Nick Foles now holds the franchise record for most yards in the game. Took that over from Donovan McNabb,
which is a name we all know.
Yeah, he was on the cover of Madden 06. Come on,
that's probably why he fell off.
That Madden curse.
Madden curse.
Vision cones.
Also on the other side, Deshaun Watson, he threw 40 times, completed 29 for 339 yards and 2 touchdowns. A solid night. He's just been playing really well lately, and he might be playing himself into the MVP conversation, but I think it's a little too late for that at this point. He also ran 8 times for 49 yards, and the second highest rusher ran for 14 on 4 carries. Not much of a run game for Houston this week.
No.
That's awkward.
Not much of a run game for the Eagles either, as they had a total of 57 yards. Darren Sproles led the way with 9 carries for 32 yards. So he's still playing in the league.
I don't think he's immortal. He's never going to stop.
So how about this? There were 4 receivers. Well, Darren Sproles running back, but there were 4 people catching the ball with over 70 yards. Sproles had 76. Jeffrey had 82, Ertz had 110, and Aguilar had 116.
Good grief.
That is a day.
We have a great quarterback, though.
Oh, yeah, the best quarterback.
Blaine's over here shaking his head.
You guys are so wrong.
In case you haven't caught on, he's a big Carson Wentz fan, so this is really just killing him right now.
All right, so let's move on over to my boys over in Cleveland, keeping the win streak alive.
How many is that now?
3.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a
not
big
bad.
number in Cleveland.
Yeah, in Cleveland, it's a big number.
Honestly, if it would have been 3 total, that'd be a huge win.
So we are actually 7-7-1 right now after the 26-18 win over the 6-9 Bengals. And the first half of this game was just a sloppy mess from the Bengals. They had negative passing yards at halftime.
Yikes.
Passing yards.
Good.
I don't see how Marvin keeps his job after this, being honest.
I don't see how you get negative passing yards.
I don't know how it's possible, but
Was that Nathan Peterman back there? Or?
No. It was Driscoll, who actually ended up with a pretty good night, 133 yards for 2 touchdowns. Not
bad for a half.
Yeah, he had one half to put all that together. And then Joe Mixon had 17 carries for 68 yards and 2 catches for 10 yards. It was all right. Baker Mayfield, he was just on fire today.
Dangerous.
That day, I guess. 27-37, 284 yards and 3 touchdowns. Jarvis Landry dropped a dime of a pass for 63 yards.
Pretty good pass.
It did not fool the Bengals at all on the trick play, and he put it right on the money. And it was a thing of beauty. Nick Chubb had 19 carries for 112 yards, which he had another solid night. The draft class by the Browns has just been amazing for them this year.
Yeah. Not a thing I ever thought we'd say.
I know. I mean, Ward's going to the Pro Bowl. Mayfield's playing Rookie of the Year type plays. Type plays.
We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
And Chubb has come into his own as the lead man in the backfield.
Chubb's very surprising.
It's extremely surprising.
Georgia running backs are good.
I knew he'd be good. I didn't think it was going to be this fast.
So you were impressed by the Eagles stats. This one's not quite as impressive. But there were also 4 receivers with more than 50 yards in this game. Duke Johnson had 54 yards. Higgins had 60. Njoku had 73. And Peterman led the way with 76.
He's still in the league.
Oh, yes, he is. And he is happy that he's out of Baltimore, apparently.
Don't blame him.
Oh.
Don't blame me.
Stay there. I don't need it. Terrible.
Maybe you do.
Yeah, that's it for my game. So we're going to go ahead and send it over to Blaine.
So I just want to mention something about the whole Bengals coaching situation. I was perusing Twitter, as I do, and I came across a tweet from the Bengals, and it was like a video of the mascot going around the Christmas tree, and they captioned it, hey, like, what did you get for Christmas, or what do you want for Christmas, blah, 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 blah. And I tweeted, of course, because I wanted to. Like,
He's a salty little boy.
of course, fire Hugh Jackson and fire Marvin Lewis and don't hire Hugh Jackson. Then it was like, let's scroll. Literally every single other tweet was the exact same thing. So I feel like if the Bengals don't fire Marvin and they do hire Hugh, there's going to be a huge fan uproar.
Yeah.
But the other AFC North going to be pretty happy about it, so...
I kind of feel like the Bengals are just still like, you're still going to buy tickets. Because, like, I've been complaining about it for years.
Do they think their fans are just that dumb?
Well, I've made my decision, so, I mean, anyway. So I had the Bills versus the Patriots, and if you remember, this was my upset pick of the week last week. The Bills definitely let me down. But the final of that game was New England 24, Buffalo 12. The Patriots relied heavily on their running game. They had 273 total yards rushing, with Sonny Michel leading the pack with 116 yards on the ground. Fun fact, they had 4 runners of 35-plus yards. They
bad.
also enjoyed the end around. Cordero Patterson had 4 rushes for 66 yards. The passing game was real sloppy, though. I mean, they had 2 picks on each side. And, like, turnovers in general were really bad this game. They had 4 interceptions total, like, between them and 2 fumbles. Now, the Pats winning this game get 10 consecutive AFC East titles. And then this is 16 in the Brady-Belichick era. Moving on, we have your Monday night game with the Broncos versus the Raiders. And I don't know about y'all, but I was very surprised that the Raiders won this game. It started out with a Dwayne Harris 99-yard punt return for a touchdown. And he ran for a total, like, on that play of 157 yards. This is the 3rd time in NFL history that's ever happened. Like, of a 99-yard plus punt return. Only Patrick Peterson and Robert Bailey have the same, Oakland won this game 27-14. The Raiders came out balling. They started the game up 17-0 at half. And then, in my opinion, like, despite the bad interceptions, though, Case Keenum had the better game passing. Phillip Lindsay, to mention, is the 3rd undrafted rookie ever to hit 1,000 yards rushing. Finally, I had the Vikings playing the Lions, and they totally trounced the Lions. Minnesota won 27-9. And, like, it was weird, though, because the first half, like, all of it except for, like, the last 5 minutes was Detroit. Detroit contained them, like, in the pocket. Detroit went up 9-0. And then Kirk Cousins came out to ball. He started out by throwing a bomb, a 44-yard bomb to Mason Rudolph.
Kyle?
Dang it, I'm stupid.
Mason Rudolph was a quarterback.
My idiot.
for the Steelers.
I mean,
Leave it in.
we're living up to our name. We're sort of stupid. It's fine.
It's okay. No, yeah. He threw a 44-yard bomb to Kyle Rudolph, and it was a beautiful, beautiful throw. I love watching Kirk Cousins throw. Kyle Rudolph went on to have a day. He had 9 targets, 9 catches, 122 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Now, fun note that I'd like to point out. After firing DeFilippo, what is his first name? James? John DeFilippo. They are 33 points per game, 160 rush yards, and 2-0.
Yeah, I was gonna say that since they got rid of him, they've turned it around. It's just a shame they didn't do it, sooner.
Yeah. Moving on, we have Darren.
So the first game I'll talk about is the Buccaneers and the Cowboys. The Bucs lost 20-27. Zeke had, just an 85-yard game. Nothing too big, but still pretty good for Zeke. Winston didn't have a bad game. He had 336 yards and a touchdown. Cooper, though, only had 4 catches for 20 yards, so that was kind of a little low for Cooper. And the Cowboys had a 69-yard fumble return. So the next game I want to talk about is the Seahawks and Chiefs, which was my upset pick from last week. The Seahawks won 38-31. Mahomes and Wilson both had 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. They both played about the same kind of game. Doug Baldwin, what a man. 7 catches, 126 yards, and a touchdown. And I'd like to point out the Chiefs I would consider they're 0-4 in big games against the Patriots, the Rams, the Chargers, and the Seahawks. So I don't know if that's going to fall into the MVP conversation later. But my last game, man, I was happy about this game. Old Action Jackson over here went to San Diego, L.A.
Brother.
LA, and just pretty much was like, yo, I'm the man. And what happened was they won 22-10, but they dominated them, and it should have been more, but I'll take the score. The Ravens held the Chargers at 198 yards. First time the Chargers have been held under 200 yards since 2014.
Really?
Lamar outplayed Phillip Rivers, which honestly I wouldn't have believed that if you would have told me before the game, but he had 204 yards and 22 attempts, plus an amazing bomb to Mark Andrews. And Rivers had 181 yards on 37 attempts with 2 picks. So it ended with a pick, and it started with a pick for Phillip Rivers. Ravens can clinch the division with a win over the Browns next week. Moving on.
Alrighty, I guess I'll get this first one out of the way. Giants versus Colts, my upset pick last week. Didn't quite go the way I called it. Colts win 28-27. Andrew Luck was Andrew Luck. 31 for 47, 357 yards, 2 TDs. Did have 1 pick. Wasn't a lot going on in the running game for the Colts. Marlon Mack had 12 carries and 34 yards, but he did have a touchdown. The big stat was T.Y. Hilton, who had 138 yards on 7 receptions, which is, 100 plus is kind of starting to become normal for him, which is
like he never
very
scored a
good for
touchdown.
Andrew.
Oh, yeah.
He never gets the touchdown though.
But Chester Rogers and Dontrell Inman also had a touchdown in this game. Not a lot of yards, but they still scored, According to Jason Witten, touchdowns matter. See?
Fun fact. T.Y. has the most yards without a touchdown in I think it's 3 weeks of games.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I wouldn't be surprised about that. He doesn't seem like he gets in the end zone that often, but he always
doesn't
has 120 yards.
Yeah, exactly.
He has the big games, and they usually just dump it off.
Well, that's kind of the way
or something.
the Steelers do. Juju gets the yards, and then Antonio Brown gets the score.
Yeah.
Juju also fumbles. It wouldn't matter.
I don't want to talk about it.
So
Moving on. On the other side of the ball, Eli Manning, did the normal Eli Manning, 309 yards, 1 touchdown. Did have an interception, but
That's normal for Eli
But-
Manning.
That is normal.
but also had a rushing touchdown, which we love to see.
What a man.
I mean, it was like half a yard.
but hey, still counts.
Hey, it counts. Surprisingly, speaking of rushing, Saquon Barkley again held under 50 yards.
Wow.
Which is 2 weeks in a row now, but he did have a touchdown. Had 34 receiving yards as well. One thing that I was happy to see is Sterling Shepard and Evan Ingram stepped up in OBJ's absence for once, which is great. Sterling Shepard had 6 receptions for 113 yards, and Ingram had 6 receptions for 87 yards, which is good to see. I mean, this game was kind of a heartbreaker. The Giants led the entire game until about 55 seconds left when they gave the ball back to the Colts, and Andrew Luck just, went Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Moving on. We go down there to Carolina.
Yeah, boy.
We love you, Carolina people.
My brother lived there for a while.
My grandpa lives there.
We're going to do the Falcons and Panthers. Falcons ended up winning this game 24-10. Matt Ryan had a pretty clean game. 15 for 26. Not a lot of passing attempts, but he did have 239 yards and 3 touchdowns. Brian Hill, who I had no clue was a person. He was a backup for Tevin Coleman. Tevin Coleman had 51 yards, but Brian Hill was 8 carries for 115 yards.
What a man.
Isn't that Hank's son?
Hank Hill?
Yeah. Isn't that Hank's son? Brian Hill?
No.
Oh, okay.
I think you're thinking of Bobby.
Oh, right, yeah.
Brian Hill did have a couple big runs, though. I mean,
Like a Bobby.
oh, jeez. Calvin Ridley had a pretty nice game. 3 receptions for 90 yards and a touchdown. Good chunk of that was a 75-yard touchdown catch. So I guess it's an okay game. But Sanu had 5 receptions, 81 yards, and a touchdown. Julio Jones, surprisingly, 4 receptions, only 28 yards, but he did have a touchdown. And also Matt Bosher, the punter for the Atlanta Falcons, had one of the greatest hits I've ever seen in my life. So throw a little respect out to the brand there.
Got drug tested the next day.
Yeah.
So
as he should. You should feel disrespected if you don't get drug tested. So yeah, little love for the brand there. And we'll go over to the Panthers side, which continues to be a mess. Taylor Heineke, I think. I don't know. He's not going to be here for a while. So. He
Sorry.
was 33 for 54. Surprisingly, gave him that many attempts. 274 yards and a touchdown, which seems like a good game until you add the 3 interceptions. Yeah, and actually went out in the fourth quarter and was replaced by Kyle Allen, who's also a person apparently. And he was 4 for 4 for 38. So
Highest completion percentage in the league.
Very nice, yeah. And it continued to be the Christian McCaffrey show for the Panthers. He had 21 carries for 101 yards and 12 receptions for 77 yards, but did not get in the end zone. Ian Thomas, the tight end, was the lone Panthers touchdown, which, that continues to be that. Moving on, we are going to go to the Bears and 49ers. Bears ended up winning this 14-9. It was a real ugly game. Not a lot of scoring, very ugly. There was a fight that broke out after a late hit on Trubisky, which I thought was justified.
Anything that starts a fight is justified.
Yeah. Trubisky, speaking of, had a pretty nice game, 25 for 29 with 246 and 1 touchdown. One thing that I was pretty impressed with by him, he actually completed to 10 different receivers, which is pretty nice, spreading the ball around. There wasn't really a lot of great receiving performances because of that. But, Allen Robinson had 6 receptions for 85 yards. I think the next highest receptions was Trey Burton, but he only had 30 yards. It wasn't that game. Jordan Howard had 13 carries, 53 yards and a touchdown. And that about wrapped it up for the Bears offense. And Nick Mullins on the other side of the ball for the 49ers. He had 22 for 38. He had 241 yards, no touchdowns and an interception. And they had 2 running backs and with 15 carries and somehow only got 47 yards.
Oof.
Wow.
Yeah, so not a great game for the running game. There's no really clear-cut number 1 running back for the 49ers, though. Matt Breida Matt Breida actually had the lower of those.
He had a bad game,
But thankfully for the 49ers, they did score a little bit. Robbie Gould went 3 for 3. Got those 9 points on the board for him. So some more love for the brand there. That was about it for the Bears and 49ers. Just not a great game.
All right, and then moving on, we've got the last game of the week. Jaguars 17, Dolphins 7. We're not even really going to talk about that.
It happened. We can just move on.
It existed. When either quarterback has 150 yards, it's just not a good game.
Yeah.
Did Blake Bortles come in?
Who knows?
Yes.
Probably not.
For 39 yards.
Remember week 4 when Ryan Tannehill was in the MVP conversation?
That happened.
Then he got
I didn't
injured.
realize that happened.
Yeah, so...
Good for Tannehill for a while.
You want to hear something fun? The Jaguars.
Jaguar.
The Jaguars won for the second time in the last 11 games. Can we give them a round of applause?
Wow.
Come back.
Column. They can win next weekend.
Bortles is coming back. He's coming back. That's all I need.
Just not Jalen Ramsey.
Ooh.
He'll probably be traded this offseason. Anyways.
Moving on, so that's it for our Week 16 game recaps. Moving on to our news section for this week. We've got a handful of news, a lot more so than last week. Number 1, Josh Gordon is stepping down from football. So it looks like this is an indefinite suspension, meaning pretty much he's not coming back to the NFL. More than likely, anyway. ESPN said that the Patriots actually assigned people to be with Gordon at all times so that he wouldn't get himself into trouble. And then somehow over the holidays, he managed to slip away and do things. So...
I have no compassion anymore.
Yeah.
I won't say I don't have compassion. I'll say I have no more patience.
Yeah.
Hey, to me, man, just hang it up. Right now, it's more about your mental health and making money.
He needs help.
And hopefully, if he's not going in for work every day, he can get that kind of help.
Right.
It's hardcore.
I mean, when you really hear some retired players talking about the amount of NFL players that do smoke marijuana during the season or whatever, and they're not getting caught. I mean, clearly this guy cannot just stay clean.
Right.
I mean, they give you heads up for drug tests. and everything.
I don't. It just doesn't make any sense how you can continue to do something like this, especially with the Patriots of all teams.
Yeah, they're
And especially
Why?
like Bill
They gave you a
Belichick
locker
saved
by
you.
Tom Brady.
Like Bill Belichick came in and was like, I'm going to take you from the Browns and I'm going to save you and put you directly into the playoffs.
Right.
See, I thought he was
like-
going to be great, like getting out of that toxic situation
Yeah.
in
He
Cleveland.
was
yeah.
average mostly. I mean, he had a couple good
He was doing
plays
all right.
here and
And
there, but
how? Here's a quick question: how much does this actually hurt the Patriots?
It
Who do they
does.
have
Probably
left?
not.
Who do they have left to throw to?
Julian
Gronk
Edelman.
and
Julian
Edelman.
whoa, Chris Hogan.
Okay.
What if Hogan comes back? What if this is all he needed?
I mean,
Playoff Hogan.
I mean, I don't think the Patriots have looked that strong.
They're
all
gonna
year
miss.
anyway.
They'll miss Amendola because he comes to life in
Yeah.
the playoffs, and
I mean,
he was
Edelman
pretty
was
much
good
not even
last
a
week.
And
person in the.
Like obviously you have Edelman and he's ridiculously
like a-
good at certain points for no reason at all.
He's streaky.
But I
This is the part where we sit here and we bash the Patriots just so we can foreshadow after the Super Bowl. Like,
Yeah.
he did it again. I can't believe it.
We all know they're gonna make it to the Super Bowl.
We all know it's rigged.
Whoa.
And we all listen.
This is the year that Lamar Jackson goes into Foxborough.
They've
No.
listen,
Beat 'em.
listen. They've even taken it so far to be losing by a ridiculous amount at the halftime of the Super Bowl to ruining everyone's
Okay.
hopes and dreams.
Honestly,
Yeah,
at this
terrible play
point,
calling.
it wouldn't surprise me if they get knocked out in the AFC Championship game and still win the Super Bowl. Like they're gonna find a
It's going
way.
to be scandal and the team that beat them.
Yeah.
They somehow work their way in there.
they get there and you're like, you know what? We all kind of expected this.
Yeah.
I mean,
And it'll be like the.
They just come out during the halftime show and just like take over. And
like
it's
the
you know
Mighty
what?
Ducks.
I saw this coming. Yeah, I saw it.
No Maroon 5, it's our show. It's our show. Get out of here.
Brady puts on a better show than any other halftime performance.
I mean, it's probably not that hard.
Ooh. I don't know, man. Prince did a
Maroon
pretty good
5,
job.
yeah,
Please have some respect for
yeah.
Prince.
Purple Rain in the Rain. Come on.
Ugh,
But
I cried.
Maroon 5, it's gone downhill a little bit for a while.
Yeah.
So it's not.
All right, moving on from Josh Gordon to some more mediocrity.
From the
Except
AFC East.
this time the Miami Dolphins. So who wants to read off this set of stats?
So Miami Dolphins this season, they're 7-8. So,
As of when
but
we
we'll
looked at this
go.
stat,
Okay, so
they were
before
7-7.
this week, they were 7-7. The last 38 games, 19-19. The last 46, 23-23. The last 84, 42-42, and the last 132 games, 66-66.
See, the thing about stats like this, if they just put up the last 38 games, 19-19, you could be like, okay, well, you can do that with any team. Pick one
Pick
stretch
any
of
set
games.
of weeks and like
And then, like, maybe it'll be half and half. But if you can do that 4 times to up to 132 games, that's a problem.
I mean, to me, there's something about the commitment to
That's
just
8.5
being average.
years.
That's
over
yeah.
8
Which
seasons.
I think
That
that's
level
funny.
of consistency is impressive.
Is it more impressive than the Patriots just winning the AFC East all the time? Because
Honestly,
look how consistent they are.
Yeah,
Which one's harder?
Like it's a dynasty. When you talk about the Patriots, like they have a dynasty. Every sport, to an extent, has had that.
So,
But you look at mediocrity, and it's like you have the opportunity to get draft picks.
Yeah.
Like, how do you not get better?
here's the thing.
Well, they're
They
staying in the
play at Buffalo next week. So they have a chance to finish 8-8.
Yeah.
Oh,
I would
hope
love
they
They
do.
haven't won the AFC East since 2008, and they've had 2 playoff appearances in that span. So they've had a couple seasons where they might have been slightly better than mediocre, but not
Yeah.
too good, like,
Do you know why they won the division here?
because...
Because Tom Brady was hurt.
Oh.
No,
Was
wait.
that no 8?
No.
I thought it was
No,
11.
That was
No,
11. Never
yeah.
mind. I take that back.
Just got lucky.
That was luck.
Who was the quarterback then?
Was it
Dan Marino?
Matt Moore?
Dan Marino.
Was that the year?
Had to be Chad Henne.
Maybe.
Was that the year?
Chad Henne.
Nice.
Goat.
Still to
Wow.
hit him back.
Was that the
Forget
year
Ryan
of
Tannehill.
the Wildcat?
The backup was Chad Pennington.
I think the Wildcat was Zach.
They went 11-5.
Was that 11?
though.
2011?
Ronnie Brown.
Ooh.
I don't remember what year it was, but
It was Ronnie Brown.
Oh, well, they had Ted Ginn. That's why, obviously.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That was
That's
a
all you
rookie
need.
year.
speaking of Ted Ginn, we're moving on to one of his former teammates.
He's had quite a few of those former.
Yeah, he's had a lot.
Been
But
on the
one,
league.
one of his more
Love you,
Bouncing
Teddy.
around.
Love you, Teddy.
at least this time he stayed in the division when he went from the Panthers. He went to
Yeah.
the Saints.
Better team.
Just better
Yeah.
team.
Oh,
Upgrade.
yeah.
Better quarterback.
Anyway,
Better quarterback.
Cam Newton has been benched for the remainder of the season. Ian
one week.
Rappaport says that although he doesn't have any structural damage to his throwing shoulder, he's been dealing with this injury for the second half of the season, and it's just to the point where A, there's nothing left to play for.
Yeah, they're out.
They're out, and B, like, he's just too injured to play. Not so injured that he'll need surgery, so he won't be doing surgery during the offseason, but he's sitting on the bench for the last game, as he did last week. So
it's good. I mean, give him a break.
You could tell that he wasn't himself, dude.
Oh, yeah.
His
Also,
throws
It's a good decision.
It's really important. I mean, it's important with everybody, but it's really important with these franchise guys. I mean, when Cam Newton is playing well and he's healthy, he's very good.
Yes.
You know, that's
I mean,
something we
look
can
at
all
the
agree
beginning
on.
of the season.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
He was running over
I mean,
people
it's
too.
because it's kind of like the Derrick Rose situation, like
Yeah.
the Chicago Bulls. I mean, they kept bringing him back when he was like 85%, and then they were like, "Oh, why does he keep getting hurt?"
Yeah,
because you're not
exactly.
letting him get a full recovery. Like, and I feel like that's what the Panthers have been doing with Cam Newton.
Right.
And like I like Cam Newton. I'm a Cam Newton fan, so I like the fact that there's a reason behind why he hasn't been doing well this year. It's not just like, oh, Cam Newton sucks now. Whoops. Like, there's a legitimate reason.
Yeah.
And I mean, Grant, he does tend to have roller coaster years, but this one has a
This one's been
pretty
rough.
darn good excuse.
Yeah. Next topic. Who wants to talk about this one?
I got. If you want to do it, go ahead.
All right. Well, something happened.
Oh, this made me weak.
Something that should never happen.
Cosmos have just imploded.
I feel like I would expect a meteor strike on Earth before this happened. Nathan Peterman was signed.
Woo!
It's probably a good choice of a team. I mean,
mean-
they're not going to expect much out of him.
Yeah, let's put a dumpster fire inside of a dumpster fire.
To the Oakland Raiders, by the way.
Oh, John.
It's like a turducken of dumpster fires.
I just want to know what their logic was behind this.
John Gruden's logic is, I got 10 years. Let's just see how much stuff I can do with him.
Let's see what happens.
Well, like he said, Gruden said, he is sharp. He is in the channel.
I'm gonna have to stop you right there. I think Nathan Peterman is probably the dullest passer I've ever seen.
I mean, yeah, but this is coming from the guy who said, I'm gonna channel my offense through Amari Cooper, doesn't use him, and then trades him to the,
Yeah.
the
And then he
Cowboys.
has
But like,
success.
yeah. So continue. He's sharp.
He is sharp. He is in the channel, I think, of success. He is going to be the real good pro quarterback, Gruden said of Peterman via the Bills' official website. I think any team in the league, you can cater to their offense for Peterman. He's a lot more athletic than people think, and he can handle an extensive amount of football. So the teams that are really ambitious with deep, thick playbooks, those are the teams that Peterman would fit within. But I hope he gets with one of those guys that can really stretch him and challenge him.
Was Gruden on drugs when he said that?
Hey, Gruden wanted him since he was at Pitt.
I'm telling you right now, you put Nathan Peterman on the New England Patriots, he still goes 0-16.
Honestly, that's what I was about to say. Is because like Gruden says, what you can cater your offense for Peterman.
Anyone
could
could
you
take him.
really
No.
swap him in for Tom Brady and expect him to do that?
Anyone could take
You're going to
him.
have to learn how to fill more than little 5 yards.
Yeah,
That's
like-
about all Peterman can do is little dump off passes.
Only offense that you could win with Nathan Peterman is the I formation, because hopefully you're handing off the ball.
I want to well, it's not preface because I'm halfway through, but I just want to say Nathan Peterman seems like a really cool guy. You know, I checked out his Twitter and everything like that. He seems like a really cool
seems
guy.
wholesome.
Like I wouldn't mind sitting down and have a chat with him, and maybe if one day we get good at this, we could have him down for a chat. And
He'll never come on
He
the
could
show.
make the Nathan Peterman Player of the Week choice.
Yeah, you'll get to read it off, man.
But you're not very good at the NFL. You were good at Pitt. I watched a few games and you were at Pitt and you did well, but that's Pitt.
But college doesn't always transfer to the NFL.
Yeah, maybe we find something we like that we're good at, like waiting tables, or
Oh,
We can start like a web series. Like, what is Nathan Peterman good at? And you just take him around like all these different job interviews.
oh,
Love you, buddy.
poor
man.
guy.
Speaking of Nathan
Yeah, that is the
Peterman,
perfect segue.
we have a couple of nominees for the Nathan Peterman Player of the Week.
Woo!
Who wants to read the first one?
I think I have to. Okay, so we had a game, that game where the Steelers played the Saints, and that part in the game where the Steelers needed to come back to win. Do you remember that part where we, for some reason, went for it on 4th down, and Roosevelt Nix was completely sold on getting the first down? Like, So what happened was
He was short by a mile.
yeah, he was short by like 2 yards, and he's like burst down, and he like drops the ball like a mic drop, and everyone like the announcers are just like, "Oh my gosh, he really thinks he did it."
I literally laughed for 5 minutes straight.
I laughed. I was laughing through the tears. Like it was bad.
I think because he's like never had the ball before in his life, he was finally happy that he got it. Where he was just like,
Well, he was a
I
Pro
did
Bowl.
something.
He was a Pro Bowl like fullback last year, though.
yeah, but what do you have to do to be a Pro Bowl fullback?
You have to
Block?
play
Be on the team.
Yeah.
There's only like 8 fullbacks in the league anyway.
Just whoever's running back is good. Just that.
Yeah.
The other Watt.
Who is the? That's because it's the name though.
Yeah.
Like, obviously.
I
But
like.
in all honesty, it was probably the worst special teams play. No, I take that back. We have Chris Boswell.
Oh.
It was bad. I'll just say that.
Hey, he made a few.
I'd like
Yeah.
to say this is the second week straight with a Steelers special teamer on the Nathan Peterman.
It's
Yeah.
also the
Beat.
second episode.
I know.
Good thing
Maybe
they're
we have
coming-
one every week.
Good thing they're coming for the Steelers special teams. Good things.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of special teams, our second nominee is the Broncos special teams.
the entire special
The
teams.
entirety of the special teams.
Just doesn't make any sense how this happened.
On that Dwayne Harris 99-yard kick return, they tried to down it, and like they failed. And then Dwayne Harris just picked it up and took it.
There were like 3 or 4 people that dove on the
On
ball at the 1 yard. Like they had him pinned at the 1, and somehow it slides out, and the only person like within 5 yards of the ball is a Raiders player. Picks it up
I
and
mean,
just
Dwayne
scoots on
Harris
down
is
the
an
field.
absolute gazelle.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
no.
he did that for the
You think
Giants
a lot of other
Of all the
people-
people that let it like land right in front of.
Not the guy you want to live in front
and,
of.
and I mean, if you look, the Broncos players kind of slowed down, like, oh yeah, they downed it, and then they picked it up and ran it.
I was like, ah, man, that was one heck of a punt. This is gonna be easy. Oh, you got. Oh, you didn't. Oh, you got. Oh, he's gone.
Oh, no, he's gone.
And
What
he's
did we?
already in the end
What
zone.
did we do?
Why are we
Go
still
back
on
to the
the ball?
sideline.
We found ourselves on the NPPOTW. That's really hard to say.
It is.
Very
It's
long
not an
acronym.
easy acronym.
Mouthful.
So I'll go ahead and take this one. So I know it's really easy in the NFL to get on the refs, but my goodness, this year has just not been good for them.
It's been the worst year since we didn't have refs back in the like
Yeah.
Fail Mary
I
play.
think-
Des didn't catch it.
Oh.
I think roughing the passer has been slightly better, a little better.
And granted, they have new rules in place
Yeah.
that they have to like work on, and that's why during the preseason they were calling them all over the place because they were practicing it. But then it carried over into the regular season where
we're
they
like,
continued
stop.
to keep calling it.
Yeah.
So, to give you some specifics, during that Saints-Steelers game, I believe it was on the second drive, maybe third of the game.
It was early. For
It was
sure.
very early, so maybe not a huge game changer, but it put the Saints on the 1 yard line.
and
then
ended
they
up
scored.
scoring. Yeah,
So,
so it was a game changer considering we lost by what, a field goal?
yes.
Or yeah.
It was a deep ball from Drew Brees that was just a desperation heave to the end zone. The play kind of got blown up. He was scrambling around, and he throws to the end zone where Joe Hayden is there with his hand stuck out, just barely on the back. I can't even remember which receiver it was because
It's
all I
Michael
can.
Thomas.
Was it
I
Thomas?
think it was.
Well, he's got his hand just barely on his back, his arms extended, and then he jumps for the ball, and then a flag is thrown for a pass interference. Which, you could make a case for that being pass interference because his arm is out and he kind of like...
Yeah,
he
I mean, I
poked
think if
him.
your arm is extended at any point, I think they just have to.
That, yeah, that's... I can understand that, but there was no contact made.
The look on Hayden's face, like, because obviously, like, every time there's a flag thrown, the person it's thrown on is like, "Oh no, I didn't do it."
You know, it's super
but
obvious.
he was
sometimes.
pissed.
Oh, yeah.
At that call,
Yeah, he was very upset.
Livid.
livid indeed.
And also this week, there was a roughing the passer called on Jadeveon Clowney for hitting Nick Foles.
The great Saint Nick.
The great St. Nicholas Folesus. I don't really know what that last part was, but where he just comes in and pushes him over, and he had just thrown the ball. Like
Yeah.
I watched it a few times. It wasn't a late hit by any means. He
Nope.
didn't fall on top of him.
Nope.
He didn't push him down. He just runs into him, knocks him over as someone attacking the quarterback is supposed to do, and he gets flagged, which was very late in the game and
Probably
quite
led
possibly
to that.
altered the ending of the game.
Top of all his quarterback skills, Nick Foles, great actor as well.
I have a feeling that like it's gonna be a bad play in the playoffs. That's going to decide a game like that, roughing the passer.
yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
it's
yeah,
just
and then
gonna
it's
be
gonna-
bad for whoever's team
Yeah.
it's against.
I
I
mean-
feel like every game I've watched recently, I can look at a call and say that was important for the outcome of the game.
Yeah. So, real quick, before we make any picks, I kind of want to make some honorable mentions.
Do we have one more pick though?
I'll say we
Oh,
have
we
a bonus.
Oh,
Bonus.
we're
bonus,
going for
bonus,
4
bonus,
today.
Bonus. Fourth candidate for the Nathan Peterman Player of the Week. He is not a player, but he is a coach.
Oh.
This fourth pick is going to be for John Gruden for actually signing Nathan Peterman. So,
Props.
And whatever
Yeah,
else he's
man.
doing.
And winning this game. I get it's the last game in Oakland, but
yeah, what are you winning for, man? Respect the tank.
no, I'm not a tank kind of guy. I
think
get
it was
it.
just Nathan Peterman's leadership that just helped him win that game.
That's the whole reason they won.
Even though
He
he's
was
on
on
the
the
practice
sideline.
I mean, he was the one
So-
with the headset on, you know.
Yeah.
making the calls.
So,
Maybe
So-
maybe be a coach in the future.
So
I had something
your
in my
own.
head, but then you said something and I lost it.
I
I didn't write it
apologize.
down.
So let's
vote.
vote.
I vote for the Broncos special teams because that was just a flub of a play. And I mean, it was a
that?
phenomenal return, but
What's that?
still.
I mean, I love to laugh. I love it. And when I see someone getting up and celebrating a failed fourth down play, it's hard to not throw my pick.
Especially
for
when it's
that.
like against a team you don't like.
Oh,
On
yeah.
division. That just makes
No
it better.
offense, Matt, but I hate the Steelers
I
since
do
birth,
too.
and I
Yeah,
wasn't even a
no,
Browns
I'm
fan
taking-
since birth.
We just grew up hating Steelers.
No, I
Fan
gotta
base.
say, I agree with that. It made me laugh and cry, but yeah, it was so just out there. Like he wasn't even close to getting the first down, so I gotta throw mine to Roosevelt Knicks as well.
As absolutely insane, I think John Gruden is for signing Nathan Peterman. I guess we'll stick to the players, and I'm gonna also have to give it to Roosevelt Knicks. That was one of the dumbest things.
And I'm also giving it to Knicks. So
Wow.
four
Wow.
for Knicks.
Congratulations, Roosevelt Knicks.
You're the second-
You're the worst.
Don't ever get the ball again on crucial situations.
I
Didn't
love
even
how
roll past the first.
no, I love how a 99-yard flub doesn't even hold a candle
No.
to
To like a fourth.
As
and
soon as you
fourth
look
year.
like a foolish human being, I'm always going to vote
yeah.
for you.
Well, the bad thing is, like, he got tackled forward, and even in his role, he didn't get the first
He
down.
didn't
So, like, I don't know how he could have possibly
God,
thought that
so
he got the
bad.
first.
Maybe who knows? Who knows? You're just happy to get the ball, I guess.
Yeah.
Just wanted to show everyone what he can do. That's why he's a fullback.
All right, so moving on to our discussion topics section. We've got
Get heated.
we've got a couple topics this week. Number one, who deserves the offensive and defensive rookie of the year awards? We'll go ahead and start with the offensive pick.
I think we should start with the defensive
Yeah,
pick.
because
I
because
think we
we're
all
yeah, you're right,
on
you're
the
right, you're right.
We all have our
consensus.
defensive pick.
I'll just speak for everybody. Darius Leonard.
Yeah.
If he does
Yeah.
not win,
It's rigged.
fire everyone.
That pitch, and we're gonna pick for them.
And I mean, like, when you look, not only is he leading in tackles, but he's leading by 20.
And he's
Or is
a
it
rookie.
19?
It's not.
It's too many for a
It's
rookie.
basically an entire game's worth, and he's played one less game than everyone else.
He also
He's
has-
played 15 out of the 16.
yeah.
I mean, this man is just eating
Or
people
14.
up there.
He
It's
also has
ridiculous.
4 forced fumbles and 7 sacks.
It's nutty.
So
That's
It's
and
just
a
not
pick.
even close.
Got that pick though.
He might even win Defensive Player of the Year.
It'd be hard with Aaron Donald
Yeah.
that's Aaron
It
Donald.
depends on
Khalil
how well
Mack.
Aaron Donald's
Yeah.
last game is, I think.
if they.
Plus
I mean-
Khalil Mack. I mean, you gotta.
Yeah,
remember that.
that's fair.
He'll be
But
top
he's
5, but I don't think.
I think
Yeah.
he'll finish in the
The
running.
fact that he got snubbed from the Pro Bowl was absolutely ridiculous, though.
Yeah.
Who
Yeah,
was
that's
the linebacker? The Cowboys linebacker, that rookie Van.
Did Vander Esch make it?
I think he did.
Give me a break.
I think it's just because the Cowboys are.
I was
somehow
surprised when
irrelevant.
Denzel Ward made it. I'll take it, but I was surprised.
I mean, he's
I mean,
a second round pick.
I was surprised the
Leonard's
Giants
a
had
second
3
round pick.
people.
Oh,
Second round pick.
Leonard, like I've never even heard of that guy until like.
Neither did I.
Yeah,
I
he
always
came
forget
from a
what school he
random
came from.
college that like I don't.
Now we're going to search for it.
Was it like
So is this an
South
South
Carolina
Carolina
State?
State Bulldogs.
I was right.
Not bad.
Which,
Not bad at all.
you know,
I mean, yeah, when you come out of a no-name school like that, I always instantly have more respect for you as a player because you clawed your way to the top, and it's always way more fun to see those
Colts
people.
defense look good, which they haven't had a great defense in. I don't even remember.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Also,
defense.
You covered that game, and I didn't hear the Malik Hooker ceiling interception, but we'll just let that slide. It's fine.
I mean, there's no reason to talk about that. I mentioned the interception. I just didn't say who did it.
Yeah.
It's always a high state person with a big play.
Whatever. So, who wants to start with their offensive rookie?
I can start. Offensive rookie of the year, I picked Saquon Barkley. Obviously,
Thank you.
He's insane. He's gone off this year. He's done better than honestly, I was not a huge Saquon fan coming into the NFL. But, he doesn't have an offensive line, and yet he's third in, rushing yards. And, what was it? Fifth in TDs? Rushing TDs?
Is he second rushing yards?
Third.
Third.
Oh, Todd Gurley.
He's got 1198.
Yeah.
He's got 1198.
So he could be second if...
Yeah, if Todd Gurley, he's not playing.
He's probably not playing.
I don't know how far away their yards are.
And he's not going to catch Zeke, but still, second place is going to be a nice spot for a rookie.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Big 10.
And I like what you said about the fact that he doesn't have an offensive line makes it even more impressive that he's not broken yet.
53 rushing yards to surpass that.
Isn't that what he got this week?
He got about 47. Who do they play? Oh, they play the Cowboys.
43.
That'll be tough. That'll be tough.
It could happen, though. I also got to throw mine in for Saquon because, like I said, the fact that he's doing this without an offensive line, he's fifth in the league in rushing touchdowns. He's got 10 of them. Third in yards. The guy's killing it. And he's not just killing it for a rookie. He's just killing it.
Yards has 87 receptions.
Yeah.
Pretty good for a running back.
That's not...
A lot of checkdowns for Eli.
Still.
Not a lot of time in the back.
It's just the fact that he's catching them. He's not bobbling them. He's not dropping them. He's even though they're minimal gain, he's still catching, which is a good thing to have for when Eli decides to not check it down.
Yeah, I think we know. Obviously, I'm also on the Saquon Barkley train. Obviously, it's an absolute monster. This guy is right now. He's just looking like he's been like this for 5 years. He's looking like a true professional as a rookie. I get other candidates, but I don't. So
honorable mention to Philip Lindsay and Nick Chubb.
Yeah, they
did good. And I like Barkley too, but I gotta go with Baker Mayfield. And I'm gonna tell you why. For years to come, or from years before, being a quarterback for Cleveland has been horrible, no matter who you are.
Death sentence.
And right now, Baker is lighting it up. His stats are pretty similar to Tom Brady's right now, and he has less to work with, I think. So
So are you comparing Baker Mayfield to Tom Brady right now? Is that what you're doing, Dan?
But Baker's throwing for 3,344 yards.
I'm totally avoided the question.
Yep. He has 24 touchdowns, 11 picks, and they have a 500 record as of right now.
A lot of interceptions.
But he's completely turned that franchise around.
How many fumbles does Saquon Barkley have? Just saying.
Okay, listen.
Probably not.
So, if you had asked me a few weeks ago who the rookie of the year was, I absolutely would have been on the Barkley train with you guys. However, as of now, I am all aboard the Mayfield train. So, and listen, you can't even use my bias.
I'm listening
you can't even use my bias as an Ohio State fan against me because both of them have shredded me before. So Barkley did it a few times.
He did though.
Even though we won those games, Barkley did it a few times. So, here's my argument. One, I don't think Saquon has had as big an impact on his team as Baker has. I think Saquon's come in and changed the running game. And obviously, as a running back, I'm not going to blame him for losses.
And he's had some good games, too. They haven't...
Honestly, there's a lot of games that we don't win if Jonathan Stewart's still back there.
No,
I was going to say, how long has it been since you guys have had a reliable running back?
But
the last time that we had a reliable running game was probably 2011, 2012
Yeah.
when we won the
That-
Super Bowl. I mean, and that was still two people. That was Brandon
Yeah.
Jacobs and Ahmad Bradshaw that it took to get that consistent.
Yeah.
running
But
back.
here's my thing.
Before that, it was Tiki Barber.
Yeah, that's who I was thinking. I was like, have you had anyone since him?
Yeah. Like we've never had a dominant running back like that. since
Here's
Tiki.
my thing. After watching years of Browns play and watching the game this week, and like I don't think it's just Baker that's changing this, but the culture around the Browns has completely done a 180. I also think that Jarvis Landry has had
I
a
was
huge
gonna say, I
hand
put
in
that a
that.
lot on Jarvis Landry.
Jarvis Landry's come in and had juiced the entire
Juice.
team. But Baker Mayfield, he's come in and granted, I don't like that he talks so much. I don't like how he's kind of I don't want to say it.
Just say it.
Cocky.
I don't want to I don't like that he's Johnny Football light.
I love it.
But
At least he can back it up.
everything he brings to the table for this team, they're breaking even.
Yeah.
My question is, how many games have the Browns run without Baker?
They didn't
did not look
didn't
good
win a
at all
game.
with
But they also
Tyrod
had
Taylor.
Hugh Jackson, and you see
That-
how
no,
the
that's
Hugh
fair.
Jackson effect has gone
But-
over to
Cincinnati, yeah.
Here's
Baker's a better quarterback than Tyrod Taylor.
I don't want to defend the 11 interceptions. I don't want to defend the 11 interceptions, but I will say I think Baker Mayfield is very much a Brett Favre-esque quarterback.
Give him time.
He's
Hold
gonna esque. He's
Time
gonna
out.
no. Let me finish my
No, no, no.
sentence.
I wanna go back to Baker Mayfield's a better quarterback than Tyrod
Oh, yeah.
Taylor.
I would
yeah.
agree with that.
Oh, yeah.
I would disagree because the entire Browns system, like that they ran, screwed Tyrod Taylor.
Tyrod Taylor's got a ring.
Tyrod Taylor.
Come on.
Come on.
That's
Brock
because,
Osweiler has a ring.
that's because of the great Joe Flacco for that ring for Tyrod Taylor.
I mean, the only thing I have to
But he
say is
didn't do anything
if
in
Tyrod
Buffalo.
Taylor was better than Baker Mayfield, why would they have put him back in since Hugh left?
they saw how terrible.
Well, I mean, sometimes you have to go with a hot hand. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, back in the day, nobody thought that Colin Kaepernick was going to be better than Alex Smith at that point, but he was the hot hand. So
Yeah.
Jim
I mean-
Harbaugh never put Alex Smith back in.
I guess
He
that's
saw
why
they went
Tony
to the Super
Romo's
Bowl.
at the analyst desk now too.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm sure he could have had a couple years.
And
left,
Yeah.
I would make the argument that the Browns were gearing toward putting Baker Mayfield in anyway.
Well, he was the number 1 overall pick.
So do
Exactly.
you think
Tyrod-
Tyrod is gone next season? And
I
starts
think
again?
Tyrod-
I
I think
think Taylor,
Tyrod's
I'd want to
playing.
get out of
Listen,
there.
Tyrod was there to change the Browns system because they're very similar players in that they're mobile but not crazy mobile.
Well, Tyrod's
and they-
crazy.
Tyrod's more mobile than Mayfield. I'll
I kind of
grant it.
forget he's even a quarterback because no
He
one
runs-
talks about him anymore. Well,
But
that too,
and then they both have decent arms. I honestly think Mayfield's more accurate with his throws.
Yeah, I think Mayfield's more accurate, but I think Tyrod has a better arm. I mean,
I'll
Tyrod
accept
has an absolute rock.
could-
I'll
Yeah.
accept that. I will absolutely accept that.
Like, what I'd like to see is Tyrod to the Jags.
Ooh.
I could see that.
Little
I think that'd be a
Fournette,
good fit,
Taylor,
actually.
yeah.
I could see that.
Flacco to the
They
Broncos.
traded for Carlos Hyde. Stupid.
Oh,
I think Flacco's
Flacco to the
done.
Broncos would be a
Flacco's
good
done.
pickup for
Flacco's
them.
not done yet.
No. To the Broncos, you can manage the game. You can rely on that.
Anyway, my pick is
Somewhat-
Baker Mayfield for Rookie of the
Mine's
Year.
also Baker Mayfield.
I respect your
Slide it
pick,
in there.
even though it's wrong.
Yeah, I
But-
respect it, but he's just middle of the pack as far as quarterbacks.
I
are
think he's
concerned.
clear cut number 2,
Okay.
if nothing else.
Okay,
No,
This
no,
is
no,
my
no, no,
thing.
hold on. Just like I'm saying
Here-
quarterbacks in general. So like when I look at Saquon Barkley, like you look at his numbers, he is second
I see what
of
you're
all
saying.
running backs. You
Okay.
look at Baker Mayfield, and even considering he hasn't started, but you look at like his completion percentage, his number of interceptions, he's middle of the pack in his category.
Yeah, what Matt's saying is like when you look at NFL players right now and you say like who are the good running backs in the NFL, Saquon Barkley is definitely going to come up.
Okay.
You might get through a few people before you're like, oh, Baker Mayfield. Yeah. Like,
But then you got to think about it's a quarterback league.
Yeah.
Like-
the voters tend
and-
to vote toward quarterbacks.
And I'm not
that's the
basing
sad
I'm
thing.
not basing my pick off of it's a quarterback league, that's why Baker's going to win. Cuz I mean, look at a few years ago when Ezekiel Elliott was an MVP
Oh my
candidate
gosh.
and he didn't win Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that's
Because
crazy.
Dak Prescott
Has
did.
Baker had a bad game though? I texted you through 3 picks, but he also threw for like 300, 400 yards.
He quote unquote.
And Barkley's
made up
had some like games where it's like 40 rushing yards.
But
here
also
and
we
there.
have to bring that
And you
back
guys have a
to
terrible
the
offensive
Giants
offensive
not
line.
having
Yeah.
an offensive line.
And they don't sometimes read
I mean,
them
like
right
if you watch a
away.
lot of Saquon's runs, I mean, he's
It's
breaking
broken
3 or
tackles.
4 tackles.
But then again, you know what, I've defended this before because other people have said this. But since other people have said it, I'll bring this up. Who is Baker throwing to?
He's got David and Njoku.
Which
He's
Jarvis
got
Landry-
He's Njoku and Landry.
Landry has done a
Is
lot.
it, what's his name? His name's Antonio
Callaway.
Alright.
Everyone's
proved himself
listen,
this year.
Listen, that's exactly what I've been saying this whole time, and everyone's like, "But who's he throwing to?" It's
I
like,
mean, who's Saquon?
Callaway
Duke
is
Johnson.
Higgins.
He's also got
Odell, Sterling Shepard.
You got
Yeah,
Rashard
good
Higgins. Like, how many of these wide receivers would make it with other teams, though? Like,
Yeah,
Rashard
exactly.
Higgins,
Like they're
You got Duke Johnson.
Peterman
as well.
couldn't play with the Ravens. Like, he was terrible, and now he's
yeah, exactly.
somewhat.
So in the grand scheme of things,
Plus.
he's got two. I'll say outstanding receivers.
Three.
He's got Landry.
Duke Johnson.
He's not even a
He's a
receiver.
running
He's receiving back.
But he doesn't
They use him
play
in
a
the
lot.
passing game.
I wouldn't count him.
They
as
use
a
him.
three.
He's a change of pace back, and they throw to him.
They have Joku and Landry hasn't been like super impressive.
He
Leadership wise, he
leads-
has.
He's been leading the team and he leads the team in receiving yards.
Yeah.
Secondly, he's got a pretty good offensive line
His offensive line has
that gives
done
him time
much
in the
better.
pocket.
Got a
I
good run
think
game,
that's
too.
more. He's got way more to work with than Saquon does.
Like I will
I think-
concede that he's definitely a candidate.
He's a candidate.
I don't want to say I mean, me choosing Baker in the first place is kind of biasy, but my thing is when you have a team that has had a culture, a nature, just unending horrible quarterbacks,
He had Deshaun Kaiser last year.
horrible quarterbacks for years, and you finally have someone. It's hard to look past that. Whereas the Giants have had history of being winning teams
The sad
constantly,
thing.
except for like the past 4 years.
The sad thing.
You have Super Bowls,
Is-
man.
We
Two of them,
all.
actually. They're pretty nice.
The sad thing is,
I don't feel playoff.
sitting here, we all know what's going to be the result. Baker Mayfield's going to win it because it is a quarterback league.
Maybe.
See, I don't think it's that clear cut.
I was
think
gonna say,
we need
I
to
don't
see.
either.
I think we
I
need to see
don't-
how he does against the Ravens.
I think it's
defense.
definitely less clear cut than the defensive rookie of the year.
Oh yeah, no.
But the fact
Which
of the matter is, I
Darius
think
Leonard and Derwin James is
On-
like the only.
honestly, in my mind, it's these two
and then
everyone else. And I'm not saying that like everyone else is gonna have a horrible career and they're not doing well.
Sam Darnold's doing good.
Yeah, Sam Darnold's picked it up. Philip Lindsay is an
would you think
undrafted
would be-
rookie.
Philip Lindsay, it
Okay.
sucks for Philip Lindsay because
It's a
Denver
rough year.
is just not.
No.
It's a team that nobody wants to watch. You know, at least the
Yeah.
Giants are in a big market. You know, they may not
Exactly.
win games, but at least
Who
people
are
are
in
watching
New York?
those games. Nobody's like, can't wait to watch that Broncos game.
Especially now.
yeah.
I have a
like,
They don't
question.
even have Peyton Manning anymore.
yeah, the
Who would you
sheriff.
put as the third, like in the race? Would you put Lindsey or Chubb?
Probably Lindsey.
Lindsay.
Lindsay's been playing
Because
more
he's
games.
undrafted. He might have drafted his story.
So that's the next question I was gonna ask. When they vote, do they vote more based on just the stats, or do they consider like the culture of the locker room? Do they consider
They
the
don't.
undrafted
think-
like storyline?
That's something
I
I'd
think
like to
rookies
know
is like
better.
kind of. I think the MVP is a lot about the record of your team too, but I think rookie of the year is kind of like.
It's
stats.
I mean,
and how
Cam
you
Newton
do
had
it.
that one last year and he won.
It's the same poll, or the people that are voting for it. It's the same 50 people that vote for the MVP, I believe, because it's the
Probably all have.
AP, like AP MVP. It's Associated Press, I believe.
yeah.
So it's going to be the same people voting for the MVP that votes for the Rookie of the Year, and I think they're going to give it to Baker, in my opinion, because he's the quarterback, because of what he how much they've won, and to me that's sad because Saquon has had a better season, and for me, coming into the season, I was not high on Saquon Barkley, because I was an Ohio State fan. I was like, oh my gosh, he's way overrated, blah blah blah. But like, he's kind of proven to me.
He's done work.
He's proven to me that he is who he says he is.
All right, so I just looked it up, and we'll say since, you know what, we'll just go to 2006 because that's easier for numbers for me. The last running back to win an MVP was in 2012, and it was Adrian Peterson.
When he was like 8 yards short of the record.
Dickerson's record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before that, it was 2006, LaDainian Tomlinson.
When he broke
28
the record
touchdowns.
for touchdowns. So like basically, you have to have just the most insane running back season of all.
So-
For an MVP.
Are you ready for this? Oops. I clicked.
Yeah, this is MVP.
I mean, last
But-
year.
That's-
Well, yeah, no,
But
it's
if we're
obviously
saying
different,
that
but it's the
voting's
same.
similar.
Because Alvin Kamara won Rookie of the Year last year, right?
Yes.
And he
No,
also
Kareem
was
Hunt.
insane, though.
And honestly, Saquon probably better than all three of those guys. So,
Listen,
I disagree. He hasn't
Well,
proved
we
to me
can't
yet that he's
say
better
about
than
Kareem
Adrian
Hunt because
Peterson.
Kareem Hunt's no
Or-
longer.
actually, no, it was
it's a joke.
it was a tie, wasn't it, between Kareem Hunt and
Kamara.
No.
No, Kamara
It was a
I
tie
thought-
between
I thought it was a
Prescott
co.
and.
No, because
it was co between Prescott and Zeke.
I know it wasn't.
It wasn't?
It was
the Saints had the rookie of the year on offense and defense.
Yeah.
Marshawn.
They had Marshawn Lattimore. And
I'm gonna look this
Alvin
up, but
Kamara.
I want to point this out first. So, 2007, Brady. 8, Manning. 9, Peyton. Sorry, Troy. 2009, Peyton Manning. 2010, Tom Brady. 2011, Aaron Rodgers. 2013, Peyton Manning. 2014, Aaron Rodgers. And then we got Newton, Ryan, and then back to Brady. What in the world?
And Drew Brees this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, like, how is Eli not in one of those picks? I don't understand.
How is Drew Brees not in one of those picks? Come on.
That's true.
I'd put him in there before Eli.
I think it should
It's
just
because of
alternate
that.
Eli and Drew
Can
Brees
we
every
just
year.
all agree that Andrew Luck deserves comeback player of the year?
Oh yeah.
I feel like there's
Absolutely.
no one else
Yeah.
even really close.
I mean, dude was in Europe and couldn't even think about throwing a football like
Now he's
8 months ago.
leading an average, below average Colts team to almost the
Maybe the
playoffs.
playoffs, yeah.
I just looked it up, like a good little boy does, and I found offensive rookie of the year winners from 1969 to present, and 2017, Kareem Hunt and Alvin Kamara.
Oh,
Really?
Co-winners.
Wow.
one of them still in the NFL.
Ooh. So, I was right.
Yeah, it's bad.
No, I
You're
mean,
right.
sorry
You're
guys,
right. I'm
it
sorry.
happens sometimes.
Boo.
Well, interesting. Wait a minute.
So I think
Yeah, what was that on the Onion?
no, it's there are different selections. We're talking about AP. This was something else, so I wasn't crazy when I
Okay,
said it.
Okay.
I did find it somewhere, but I'm pretty sure AP was Kamara.
You need to do Associated Press because that was
Yeah, no, it was.
Yeah, that's the one.
I know that, but I'm just saying I wasn't crazy.
Okay.
Well, maybe.
It was somewhere. It was somewhere. All right, so moving on from this fun little offensive and defensive rookie of the year talks, we're going to take a look at the kind of talking over which game we think is going to be the most interesting this week. We think it's going to be the Colts versus the Titans because there's a lot on the line here. One of these two teams will win and go to the playoffs. So which team do we think it's going to be?
It's at Tennessee, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it? I'm picking the Colts over the Titans 24-17.
I think that's a good score.
Because I think the Colts are a better team. And without Mariota, I'm going to rely a lot on that run game.
It's going to make it hard on the Titans to not have their quarterback, who most of the time is half of their running game.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see.
But the Titans are on a 4-game win streak. The Colts are on a 3-game win streak. So they're both hot as of the moment.
I just
I think
think
it's
the
gonna be a
better
big game.
quarterback's going to take over the game. Like,
Let me tell you why this game is going to go the way it's going to go.
Oh, right.
Oh boy.
Do it.
Andrew Austin Luck is a monster. He is going to slice up the Titans defense. Don't have a chance. The Colts probably win by 2 scores.
Ooh.
So what's the final score of that game? If you say by 2 scores.
You know what? I'm going to go 24-10.
Ooh.
Ooh.
All right.
Yeah.
Another fun little stat. The Colts, I should say Andrew Luck, has beaten the Titans 10 times in a row. The only other quarterback to ever do that to a team
bad teams.
is Elway, John Elway. If he's done it 10 times in a row, why stop now? I'm going to say Andrew Luck over the Titans. Just Andrew Luck. Not the Colts over the Titans. Just Andrew Luck. I'm going to say, why not? We're going to go 36
whoa.
to 14.
Oh, okay.
All right.
So, I think this is more of an even matchup than you guys think. The only place where I think the Titans are really outmatched are quarterback. Obviously, Andrew Luck is incredible.
Pretty big position.
Yeah, and a very important one. And I think I think the Titans have a good defense, but they don't have the big names that the Colts do right now with Darius Leonard, who is just tearing it up. But then you don't really have very many other big names on that defense that you can think of off the top of your head.
Jamal
Go.
Sheard.
And
Also,
after that,
Jarrell Casey,
No, wait,
the
wrong
Pro
team,
Bowler.
sorry.
Hooker's been
Yeah,
all right.
I mean,
The Pro Bowler for Tennessee, their great lineman, I think he's injured, so he's not playing
Taylor
this week.
Lewan?
So it hurts him a lot.
Yeah.
Well,
So
it does hurt him a lot.
But these are
Taylor Lewan is the best lineman in the league. I'll say that.
That's a little biased.
Well, I mean, I still think it's true.
These are both good defensive teams going up against each other. Obviously outmatched at the quarterback, which is why I think the Colts will win. But both of their running games have been blowing up lately. Marlon Mack has had back-to-back really good games. Derrick Henry has
A beast.
just shown up on the NFL field. I don't know how or what lit a fire under him, but it's worked. So I think this will be a good game. I honestly think that the Titans are going to outrun the Colts because when you have Andrew Luck, you're not going to hand it off as much, and when you have Blaine Gabbert
You want to hand it off
as
as
your
much
quarterback,
as
you want to hand it off to your giant running back. So I think it'll be close. I was going to say 24-17, but I feel like it's a cop out if I choose the same score as Darren. So, you know what? I'll just
17-24.
You know what? I'll still say it's going to be a 2 score, but it's going to be a late score, 20-10.
Here's the thing.
I like that we all gave Vinny a field goal in there.
Well, he's got to get one.
Here's the thing. The Titans are 29th in overall passing offense. And with Blaine Gabbert, who is...
Blaine Gabbert.
I don't think the Titans are going to have a passing game whatsoever. He's probably going to finish with like 150 yards, maybe. That's what I think. If the Colts can stop the run, can stop Derrick Henry, then
It's over.
the Titans don't have an offense.
Yeah.
I think Indy wins big. I think they win 31-10.
Oh, wow.
Also, I think that
Yikes.
if the Titans have a chance of winning, they have to keep it close because as soon as the Colts blow it out, then they're not start throwing the ball. And
The last thing you want to do is let Andrew Luck get comfortable.
Yeah, and let's see how good that Titans defense is because that's going to be the deciding factor in this game.
Exactly. So, welcome to the playoff, Colts. You made it.
Yep.
You did.
It's like,
Yep, that was nice. That was a really good win by the Colts.
Playing against possibly the Texans, but they could also go to the number 3 seed if the Texans lose this week. And
Ooh.
whoever wins.
interesting.
Also,
The Ravens also have a chance at a bye. I'm
real
just
quick,
saying.
we won't do predictions or anything. I just want to say this. So, if the Eagles win
Vikings have to lose.
and the Vikings lose to the Bears, which is very likely,
Very
very possible. I won't say likely. Do you think it's going to happen? Do you think the Eagles are in the playoffs?
I think
Make
so.
the playoffs this year?
Just give it to him.
You think you think
Yeah.
we want to see Nick Foles over Kirk Cousins anyway.
So the Vikings-
I know that's fair.
Yes.
So wait, the Vikings have to win?
They have to win.
No, the
They
Vikings
lose.
have to lose.
The Vikings
They'll
have to
lose.
The
lose.
Yeah,
Bears
sorry,
have to
yeah.
beat the Vikings.
See, if you would have said this 4 weeks ago when they had a different offensive coordinator, I would have said the Vikings are obviously going to lose. But now
That Bears defense is good.
the Bears defense
it's gonna
is
be
still real
be a fun game.
It'll
I
be
think
close.
it'll be close.
I don't think it's like recently games for the Bears have not been high scoring. It's been
Yeah.
it's been
Yeah,
very
that's
good
fair.
defense and
And the Vikings
maybe we can
do have a
outscore.
good, Vikings have a good defense too.
I'll still
true.
say the
Better
Eagles
than
make
what's
it.
been.
I love an underdog story, so yeah, that's what I'll say.
You think they'll bring back the masks?
Ooh,
Wait.
I hope so.
I mean,
I
they're
hope
not going to advance that far in the playoffs, but that's my opinion. I don't
know.
think
The
they
Eagles
will.
get in the playoff.
It depends on who
Just
they
give
match
Nick
up
Foles
against.
the chip. Let's move on.
What about if they lead them to another Super Bowl? He should start over Carson Wentz, right?
Oh,
absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Carson Wentz is
2
traded.
Super Bowls in a row. They
Traded.
weren't even like in the playoff hunt when Carson Wentz went down.
Yeah,
Like
you
they were
can't.
still
True.
kind of
You can't do it.
All right, moving on.
We can talk about that next week. when they make it to the playoffs.
not different sport, but like different level of sport here.
But the better version.
College
Oh, wow,
football
okay.
is the bowl games have been happening, but not like the super important bowl games like the Dollar General Bowl, like all those bowl games that no one cares about. But next
One
week,
got canceled.
yeah, one of them got canceled because of lightning. So rip Boston
Honestly,
College.
if your bowl game gets canceled by lightning, obviously you know your game wasn't
It
that
didn't
important.
matter.
So we're going to talk about the bigger bowl games around New Year's. So first, we're just going to talk about our predictions. Who we think is going to win the game? Michigan and Florida.
So this is number 7 Michigan versus number 10 Florida. We'll go ahead and throw the rankings out.
I'll go ahead and field this one.
No, I don't think I want you to answer.
I'll answer on his behalf. Troy and I say Michigan.
Clearly,
Ooh.
the Michigan Wolverines are going to go in there and stomp Florida.
Stop.
I'm telling you, stomp. I know what you're saying. Oh, 7-10. Like, oh, that's close. But yeah, you know, I don't care if you're third in the SEC. Who cares? Or whatever they play in. I don't. Also, that's how little I care about Florida. You haven't been decent since Tim Tebow was there.
Ooh, you were the man.
He's right though.
Also, I'm picking Michigan because I think Florida's super overrated, just like the SEC, and I think Michigan's defense has something to prove, and they're pretty much going to shut down that lousy Florida.
Michigan's defense got. I'll admit it. I hate to admit it. They got slaughtered. They got diced.
They're going to be looking for.
And they were still the number 1 ranked defense. That defense.
I
is
just don't think
special.
Florida's going to win it. What bowl game is that? What's it even? Is it like the Peach Bowl?
The Peach Bowl. The Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl.
Ooh.
Man, they're going real southern on that one.
Georgia.
Oh,
Down there in Georgia.
let's go ahead and skip to. So
Wait, are you guys?
We didn't predict.
Oh. Well, I mean, it's Michigan. Florida's garbage. Their offense is terrible. They have a good defense.
Decent. Yeah.
But I think Michigan's offense is
They're
better.
right
They
there.
got Donovan Peoples-Jones, who's a really good wide receiver. Shea Patterson's the best quarterback they've had in a while.
And the Big Ten.
No.
I put.
And
The
Karan
running back's
Higdon is
decent.
a good running back in his own right.
Best one in the Big Ten as well.
No.
Why would you say something so controversial?
Yes, so brave.
I don't know. For me, like, I looked at the stats, and both teams, like, statistically are very even. But I'm going to have to give the nod to U of M. I'm not saying that word, but I have to give the nod to U of M.
Well,
on this one.
they're close because the other team, gets to play Tennessee and stuff like that.
Vanderbilt,
And Vanderbilt, yeah.
Man, the SEC is overrated. Moving on. So we're going to go ahead and skip to Washington versus the Ohio State University. That is number 6, Ohio State versus number 9, Washington, which is, it's pretty funny.
Number 9, that's impressive.
Well, Michigan's number 7 playing number 10. We're number 6 playing number 9. Even though I'd probably pick Florida over Washington. Washington's a little overrated in my opinion.
They haven't done really much.
They have a
this
good
year.
secondary.
Now, are you
What bowl
saying
game is
that
this?
as Ohio State
I'm
fans?
I'm
like,
saying that
what
as
bowl game
a
is
it is
Rose Bowl.
the Rose Bowl.
Do you think Jake Browning's overrated as a quarterback? Because
I
he was
think he's-
highly touted when they went to the playoffs like 3 years ago, and now
And then he got smashed by Bama.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Everyone
here's my
gets
thing.
smashed by
Washington has a good secondary, but after I watch a football game in which you're playing your conference championship and no one scores the entire game and it's just a sloppy, boring mess of a game.
Defensive battle.
Did they play?
You win on an interception
Was it
for a
Utah?
touchdown that bounces off of Utah's wide receiver's foot. And that's the score that wins the game. I think Washington's kind of a mess right now. I think the Pac-12 is very overrated, and they're not even rated that high. So I think this is going to be, I won't say an easy win for Ohio State because we like to play down to our competition a lot of times, Purdue. And so
But very below.
but Ohio State's coming in. They've got their coaches. It's his last game. They're gonna go out on a hot note. It could be the quarterback's last game there. We don't really know yet. And we're gonna send off a lot of our wide receivers with a good day because we've got talent at the wide receiver position right now. And I just don't see this game being, if we play to our potential, this game won't be close.
I agree with that. I mean, statistically, Ohio State outplays University of Washington a lot. It just genuinely depends on which Ohio State team shows up. Are you going to play down or are you going to come out, balling? This game could be massive score, like 51 point. I feel like Ohio State could put up 51, or they could, it could be a close game. You never know. But I definitely pick Ohio State for this game.
I could be saying this as a super fan, but I think we could put 60 on any team except for Alabama.
I think we could too. It just depends on which team shows up. Dwayne Haskins is that good. We have phenomenal receivers. I mean,
I can't wait till your pick, Troy.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
I also believe Ohio State's going to win, and I would like to see them blow out Washington because I think Washington's trash. No offense, Washington, but the Pac-12's terrible. But for some reason, it's probably going to be a close game. But I definitely have Ohio State winning. Dwayne Haskins is going to have a great game because he should have probably got Heisman. Moving on.
I think Jake Browning and the Huskies
Are you really?
take a short flight down to Pasadena. They get into that Rose Bowl. and they slip one by the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Listen. That cannot be real.
I'm just waiting for that mascot doll like helmet.
I was waiting for the M painted on your chest.
Let me just narrate for you. Troy stood up, screamed into the microphone, and ripped his shirt off.
I feel like it's
Look at the sound bar.
There's some kind of like WWE moment going on right there. I got scared.
I thought he's not really gonna do it. He's not gonna. Oh, he did it.
I thought he was gonna. I mean, we picked Michigan, but apparently he.
Apparently we can put aside our differences for our rationally thought out picks.
You know what? I rationally thought about it, and I rationally thought that Jake Browning was going to throw all over.
Oh my god! Okay, our secondary's garbage. We get it.
We're not that bad.
Jake Browning's going to put 300 on Damon Arnett himself.
Hold on.
Okay,
Wait,
listen.
hold on. Is Jake Browning
Any
better than
quarterback
Shea
can do that.
Patterson?
Not a chance.
Because we shut down Shea Patterson.
That was one game. You know.
Yeah, so we didn't shut down Jake Browning.
Well,
I can't believe you do that.
It was a Morocco.
That's petty. That's petty.
The funniest part about this is in my notes I have Ohio State. I switched at the last second. I wouldn't let myself do it.
And
that hurts.
Matthew Shiflett.
yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the underdog here.
Oh my
What?
god.
Come on! I love an
I like that in
underdog
you, Matt.
story, and like, I just also I can't sit here and be like, yeah, 4-1 for Ohio State, four votes for Ohio State. No.
We all voted for Michigan.
We went 5-0 for U
All
of
of
M.
us voted for Michigan, unfortunately.
Well, that one's clear. This one is.
No, it's not.
I'm gonna go with the underdog here.
Ohio State can beat any team out there.
I respect your opinion,
But you're
no,
right.
it's
Just
wrong.
Purdue.
It's fine.
Let's go, Husky.
All right. Oh, listen, here comes the big one. Everyone's favorite. Everyone wants to see this happen again.
Ohio State's
What?
backup quarterback went to LSU. And
Joe Burrow. No offense,
The Joe Burrow.
losing to UCF.
Oh yeah.
No.
No, I don't think that's my pick. But
I'll
it's
say, like-
it's number 11 LSU versus number 8 UCF,
I like the hype.
the
behind
reigning national
UCF.
champions.
I like the hype behind UCF. But are they legitimately as good as LSU?
Okay, here's the problem. If
like
Mackenzie
another
Milton
story.
was in the backfield for UCF,
Exactly.
I think
This is a
the
game, at
Knights
least.
could pull it out.
It's a game at least if McKenzie Milton.
Watching their conference championship against Memphis, was
Yeah.
it? It wasn't a great game. They ended up pulling it out because they're
I can't remember that
better
guy's
team.
name, but he's not terrible.
He's not bad,
He had good stats.
but he's not Mackenzie Milton.
No.
Milton, he's a large reason why UCF beat Auburn last year. It was
because Auburn's not very
Auburn. Well, Auburn was also coming in down because they wanted to make the playoffs but couldn't beat Georgia again. But in all honesty, LSU's got a really good defense. UCF doesn't have a great defense, but LSU doesn't have a great offense. I could see this game being close if LSU's coming in with the mindset of we should have been done better this year. Why are we playing down to this opponent? Which is possible because I think that's what Auburn did last year. I also do believe that the SEC is severely overrated for teams that aren't Alabama or Georgia. And I don't know. I think LSU does not belong in the top 15, in my humble opinion.
So you think UCF's gonna?
I think it'll be a close game, but I think LSU's defense is going to pull it out for them.
I'm
Thinking
also,
rationally.
I'm thinking rationally. I genuinely think LSU is gonna win handily. They UCF hasn't played a quality game except for against UC.
Well, yeah, Cincinnati. It's a good team out there.
And UC's. I mean, they're ranked 24th,
Yeah,
but
they're not bad.
they're meh. I mean, at best.
Beat UCLA, baby.
I think LSU is gonna come in and beat them handily.
Rationally. yeah.
LSU all the way.
UCF has won, what, like 23 straight games, something like that?
25,
Pretty good.
25.
Where's
Pretty
this place
good.
at? I don't even know what bowl game. What bowl game is this?
Who cares? If
Okay,
it's not
anyway,
the playoffs, no one
UCF
cares.
is going to go to wherever this is, and they're going to beat LSU, and I'm going to tell you
Texas
why.
Tech.
Ooh, okay, tell me why. Tell me why.
LSU's overrated. Their defense, overrated.
Oh!
They gave up 70 points to Texas A&M. Like, I know
I-
it was 7
okay.
overtimes, but 70 points.
That's a fair point.
And I think UCF still, they have a lot to prove. I mean, I don't think they should have been in the top 4 anyways, but they're still going to have a little chip on their shoulder. They're going to go in there and they're going to beat Joe Burrow and LSU, because I don't think Joe Burrow is a great quarterback, but they also don't have great wide receivers. And
That's
I think
true.
UCF's going to pull up the upset, and they're going to win 2 straight over SEC. And then the playoff committee's going to be like, maybe we need to expand it to 8 teams.
Back-to-back national champions, ladies and gentlemen.
UCF. Even without Milton, their quarterback's pretty good.
I already went.
Yeah, he said
he said
LSU.
LSU, simply.
So I guess you're breaking the
To
tie.
our resident non-college football watcher.
No, there's no ties. 3-1.
I mean,
I said LSU. He said LSU. And you two said...
No, he said
I said
LSU.
LSU.
I said UCF.
Oh, you said that?
so it's still 2-2.
No.
It's 3-1.
It's 3-1.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just pick LSU. It's fine.
Excuse me.
I like being the underdog here.
Don't speak for him.
You want to go underdog again?
I'm gonna go with the Golden Knights.
We need a blooper reel.
Yeah.
Why?
I like an underdog story.
We know.
Well, technically, LSU's the underdog.
No.
They're ranked less.
Yeah, but they're going to be given the edge in the spread.
Because no one likes a good old UCF.
I mean, I'm still gonna go with UCF. Whether you consider them the underdog or not, that's who I consider. Yeah, they're ranked higher, but I consider them the underdog.
They're from the American Athletic Conference.
Yeah, exactly. The what conference?
AAC.
The great conference.
The AC. Now we're going to move on to number 15 Texas versus number 5 Georgia. And to be quite honest with you, I think this game could get out of hand quick. I don't think Texas has a great defense. They might have one of the better defenses in the Big 12 besides TCU, but it's the Big 12.
Yeah.
Georgia has a really good defense. I think they absolutely... I don't know what it is with them and playing Alabama in big games, but they just don't know how to do it. I think they could have easily been the ones in the playoffs right now, but they're not, and I think that's going to leave a chip on their shoulder, and I think they're going to take it out on Texas here, the Longhorns. I don't think it'll be pretty. I think Georgia wins by a hefty margin.
I honestly was like, I don't know. I was looking through the games, and I think this is the one that could be the upset. I'm picking Texas over Georgia.
Hook 'em.
Hook 'em horns. Let's do this.
I'm picking Georgia because I don't think Texas is that great. Georgia has a great running game. Jake Fromm is a good quarterback. Doesn't turn the ball over too much, and they have a great defense. So that's my pick.
I want to say Georgia. Everything makes me want to say Georgia.
Ooh.
But I'm going to go with the Longhorns.
Okay. The Fighting Tom Hermans.
Yeah, I just think, and for that reason exactly, I think that Texas will outcoach Georgia.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Kirby Smart's not
Calling out smart.
Kirby Smart's a good coach.
Not Tom Herman.
But Tom Herman.
He learned under the best in Urban Meyer, so.
Who? No.
Shiflet?
For this one, I'm gonna go with Georgia. I used to live in Georgia. I'll go with Georgia.
Oh, okay.
Why not?
All right, that's fair. I like having the uneducated pick.
In fairness, I wasn't given much notice that we were doing these bowl predictions. I'll make sure I at least know what I'm talking about a little bit for the next time.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm sort of stupid. What can I say?
So,
Aren't we all?
ooh. So now we're moving on to the Disappointment Bowl. Notre Dame versus Clemson.
Disappointment bowl.
So Notre Dame is overrated. I'm gonna say it right now. They need to join a conference and play real teams. Notre Dame, I'm calling you out.
Yeah, we'd all be undefeated if we got to play Army and Air Force every year.
Yeah, exactly. It's not. It's
And not in a championship game at all.
And the thing is,
You feel good about yourself beating up on our nation's military?
and listen, if you join a conference, then we don't have to extend. I don't think we should extend the playoffs. I think it'd be bad for the players and bad for everything. Because look, I mean, we're debating this at 4. Imagine debating 8. Imagine thinking that you were left out of 8.
To me, with the playoff, it's just everybody's going to want it expanded until we're at a 64-team playoff.
It's not March Madness.
Yeah,
So Notre Dame, join a conference, and I'd feel more strongly about you being there. Clemson, they have some issues now with a couple players being suspended, I believe, but they've still got one heck of a defensive line. They've got one of the best young quarterbacks in the league in Trevor Lawrence. He was the number 1 on everyone's draft thing or something, draft board.
He's still a running back.
Amazing running back, good receivers. They always seem to have good receivers. I just don't see Clemson dropping this one. Notre Dame has a good quarterback in Cook. He's all right. Ian Book.
Ian Book.
Yeah, my bad, Book. But I just don't see it happening. Notre Dame's only big win was against Michigan, and that was before Michigan really knew what to do with their quarterback.
Yeah, that was his first game with the playbook.
Yeah.
And they beat Northwestern.
And what they win by 7?
And they barely beat Northwestern.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't see
They
Notre
beat
Dame pulling this
Syracuse,
one out.
but Syracuse quarterback was also injured, I believe, too. So good for you, Notre Dame.
Sorry, Notre Dame. You just don't have
You
the
don't
win in
deserve-
my book
yeah.
to have. And granted, Clemson doesn't have a big win in my book either.
I say this is my thing. This is one game where usually I'm always against Notre Dame just because screw Notre Dame.
Oh yeah, your
But-
other rival.
Yeah, but I'm kind of interested to see what Clemson has because everybody's they beasted their way through the ACC, but what does that really mean?
Yeah.
They played Pitt.
They
in
played
the
Pitt,
championship.
and,
Yeah, so I mean, it's like we kind of get to see here. Like,
what
I
they
mean,
actually
clearly, yes, they're not in the conference, but I mean, you still have to be good to go undefeated.
did. Wasn't their biggest win Texas A&M, Clemson? I think
so.
that was it. Which is not okay.
Which apparently we talk about them as a football school now. So
I mean, they weren't bad this year.
they
but
weren't bad. No.
I think people are overestimating Clemson,
I think that too.
but I still think Clemson wins.
I'm gonna go honestly Clemson in a blowout. I don't think Notre Dame can hang, in my opinion. But they, like you said, they haven't played a quality game except for U of M, and I just don't think that
They didn't even. Book didn't even play that game. It was I can't remember the other quarterback.
I do not think that Notre Dame can hang whatsoever. I'll be surprised if they, keep it close. I think Clemson's just gonna come out there guns blazing.
Yeah, definitely Clemson. Sorry, Notre Dame, but you just don't impress me that much. I think Clemson's the better team in every aspect, and they should blow them out and then lose in the championship game.
I like an underdog, but I'm not insane. I'll go with Clemson.
All right, so here we go.
The more intriguing playoff matchup.
The one that could be exciting, but I don't know. It's the juggernaut of a football team versus the unstoppable offense.
Bama, wrap it up.
Oklahoma versus Alabama. This entire year it's been Alabama, and then everyone else is like
Chilling.
2 football fields away.
Like down a tunnel, like, hey, you see me?
Yeah, exactly. It's just not even been close. The closest game they've had this year is against Georgia, which was the only time this year we've seen kinks in their armor at all. And then
Jalen Hurts
Georgia
come back,
just threw it away.
Save them.
Yeah, and Tua's back. I don't think Tua's going to play like he did against Georgia. He is a phenomenal quarterback.
I'm not going to say Georgia has a better defense than Oklahoma, but they clearly have a
But
better defense.
Kyler Murray is a dangerous quarterback.
You think
who-
he'll wake up dangerous?
He's no Baker, but he's dangerous. He's going to go play baseball. I don't think you'll be thinking about that too much.
What a move.
I think it's a smart move.
Oh, yeah.
Make more money.
But I don't see Oklahoma being able to pull this out with their defense. Their defense stepped up against Texas, but again, that's Texas, who, granted, I don't think had that great of an offense to begin with. So I think it's Alabama, and granted, I think it's Alabama all the way. They're gonna win another one.
I also give it to Alabama. I think Tua is going to come out there, be like, Kyler Murray didn't deserve this Heisman. I deserved it. Put up way too many points. It's probably, honestly, I could see this being a blowout too, more than a close game, because Alabama's defense is
I
always
want it
good.
to be a close game. So
I
bad.
want it to be a good, close game, but Alabama's too good. I think, like I said, Tua's got something to prove. So
This could be the only playoff game that is interesting in
Yeah.
my book.
moving on.
Bama, wrap it up. Like I said.
Yeah. Again, I'm not insane. I know enough about college football to know that Bama's gonna win.
Yeah.
So,
Uh-oh.
Oklahoma and Alabama is going to go down to the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida. And Oklahoma
Is he doing it?
Oklahoma
Is he doing it?
is going to pull off the upset.
Oh!
No.
Oh, here
Call
it
it
is!
here, boys, and
Here
I'm going
it
to tell
is.
you why.
Why?
Kind of use my intro there, dude.
Yeah. Sorry, Troy.
It's all good. It's all good.
I think Alabama, they're good, but I think they can lose, and I think Oklahoma has the offense to beat them with. I don't think Alabama's defense is super great, And I mean, they should have dealt with hanging out with them for a halftime, though. Let's be honest there. And I think Kyler Murray is the real deal, and he's going to plant that Oklahoma flag right there in the Orange Bowl and say, "Screw you, Alabama," and Oklahoma's going to win the championship overall because they have a great offense. They have the speed to match Alabama, and I just think it's meant to be for Oklahoma.
I like it.
I believe that you believe it.
I do. In reality, Alabama's probably going to win like by 30. But I'm still thinking Oklahoma has a chance.
Can't wait to watch this
And
game.
then I also thought Ohio State could beat them, but they're not in it, so whatever. We're just going to Oklahoma.
I genuinely don't think that. Like personally, I don't know why Tua didn't get the Heisman. In my
Kyler
opinion.
Murray's a great quarterback.
He's a great quarterback.
Can't break
but-
Archie's 2 Heisman now.
But still, I
Tim
don't know.
Tebow should have broke it.
Nah.
Anyway.
He already said. Everyone said Alabama besides this man right here. We'll see next
We'll
week.
see.
Next week.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap
Actually,
it up
no,
here.
Saturday. It'll be
Yeah.
Saturday night. It'll be a good time.
All right, so we're just gonna wrap it up here. Once again, I'll go around the room. Matt Shiflett, Noah McCune, Blaine Smith.
No one can
Darren.
see you do that.
Yeah, make noise. Okay,
Okay.
not that noise. Darren Will.
And for the sake of the United States of America, Oklahoma, please beat Alabama. Just please beat them.
Oh,
That's all I want.
Don't get me
That's all
wrong.
I
I
want.
want
all
to
want it.
see it.
We
I
all
don't want
want
to
it.
see it.
Do not screw this up.
All right, guys, that's it for us this week for the Sort of Stupid Sports Podcast. Anybody that listens, we love you. Keep it up.
Thanks for
Peace.
sticking around.
Yeah,
Catch
we're
you next
out.
week.
See you next
Yeah.
week.
Oh, and Lucas should win Rookie of the Year. No,
Trey Young is
there's
way
no
too
question. Leave this in.
DeAndre
Yeah, this is our listener questions.
Love you, bro.